Hello, hello, hello. This is Kathy McAllister, Teawife Creation. I have another project in the series of girls. I don't know. But anyway, today we're going to start painting the Irish lass for, it can be for St. Patrick's Day, but it can be a year-round um, decoration as well. So let me get rid of my little face here. Okay. So I've already prepped the board the same way I did for the heart, where I painted the background in a brown, like an espresso or a burnt umber. And then I came back when it was dry and I used a knife, um, a palette knife, to create the texture in the background. So, anyway, the first thing I want to do, I kind of want to go more vibrant grass green with the shamrocks and everything. But I cut out something from paper I had, very old paper I've had from card making days, and it's not the right color for the shamrocks since I want to decoupage the paper on top of the wood. So I'm not sure yet if I have to go find a different paper to use that isn't as nice because that paper actually has Celtic script on it. I love my little cow. So I just realized how filthy this is underneath from doing that painting. Um, hmm. Oh well, maybe after I do this that I will go and clean this so we don't have to look at it. All right. One thing I want to do is I want her skirt to either look patchwork or to have kind of fibrous feeling to it. And I was just going to do the lower part of the skirt. I'm not going to bother with the sleeves or the bodice. And I could come and cut it out and just put this mulberry paper onto it, but I'm not sure that's going to be scrunchy enough. The other thing is I'm going to use the soft matte gel to do it. However, the soft matte gel after it dries can be it's a sealant, so sometimes then it's going to resist your paint. So I have no idea how the paint is going to perform after I do this, but I'm still curious how this is going to look. So I'm going to do it. So I'm going to just take some strips and I'm just going to stick them down. I'm going to dry it and then we're going to find out together how it works. So anyway, so I'm just going to start. I don't know if this tears. That does. If I use a little bit of water, I think it will tear as well. Like wherever you put the water is where it tears. Let me see. So add in some water lines here, and I think with mulberry paper that it will tear along those wet lines. So this one has a little bit of green tone to it, but um, it's going to be, this dress is going to be orange in the end. It's not going to be green. You can use any color of mulberry paper, maybe white. It doesn't matter. It's for texture. We're going to be hopefully painting on top of it and getting it to work. Okay, and remember you don't want your best brush for this. Use one of your older brushes with this material with this soft matte gel. We're just going to build some texture. That direction. And you don't want any real defined lines. Just kind of keep building it. I mean, this is kind of where the bodice ends, but it'd be very awkward to try to get the fiber in that tiny little section. And I really don't want to put it on the sleeves and everywhere. I just want to concentrate it down here at the bottom. I think that's good. So she'll have to dry for a little bit. Now I picked out all these colors here for her hair. So I probably need to work on the background first. So I will set her aside and we will reconvene after I have my background colors selected. I am going to do something. While this is still damp, it's not completely dry, I'm going to add in some red spice. And I'm going to do that because I want, before it all dries up, I want to see, because once this soft matte gel starts to dry, it can act as a sealant. So I'm wondering, well, what if I put the first coat of paint on it while it's drying? Then maybe the paint will keep it from being too resilient. So that's what we're going to do. So it's damp, not super wet, it's damp. And we're going to see if it dries, and then it incorporates that soft matte gel. And I think it will work. I think it will work. I love this texture. This is so cool. Getting this texture in. So again, this is red spice, because her background is going to be, sky's going to be blue, and the grass and the shamrocks are going to be green, and so she needs to have the Irish orange. So these little cutouts, I'll come back and make those like burnt umber or something, because they're not actually part of the sleeve. It's supposed to be the shadow around the sleeve. You know, laser cutting sometimes has its limitations, that I could have cut it out all the way to the sleeve edge and not had any lines, but I didn't set it up that way. Oh yeah, I'm digging it. I am digging that texture. And it is wanting to bead up in places, so I think that was a good way to kind of help infuse everything. All right, good deal. So I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do her hair yet. I'm thinking about it. I'm going to go ahead and do some shading in the hair with either asphaltum or burnt umber, doesn't matter, or your favorite shading brown. Definitely under the neck area. I'm going to pick some of these strands of hair to have a shadow to kind of separate them. Hey, where else do I want it? Let's see. Feels like here. And maybe here. Actually, I think that's more of a forward one, but I'm going to go ahead and put in a shade on her face. And of course, all this will change later, but it's just always like to start slightly darker and then I lighten it up. A little big, but I need to put some color on her face. So I'm going to, just for grins, let's see. But I'm going to start with the warm beige, and then this is white peach. This is warm beige. I'm thinking, yeah, I'll come back with some lighter colors later. So I'll start with the warm beige and do a color wash. Right. So you can use warm white or titanium white to color in the eye area, the white eye area. Now, we are going to make her eyes very green. So for now, I'm going to take New Leaf.
Okay, I'm going to use the red spice and create a color wash. This red spice here is getting a little dry. I'm going to see if I can resurrect it. Okay, there we go. She's starting to come to life now. I have this color wash available. I'm just going to go back over all of this in here. So we need to put in the black areas on the cow. So the blaze here is white. The ears are black, the outer part. Okay, so I need to do her udder in. I have a little bit of this warm beige left, and I'm just going to use that. I got hair on here because I dropped this on the floor when the white paint was wet. More hair. still there. So we did the udder in the warm beige, and we just need to apply that to the muzzle. Should have done that before I did the black, but anyway, and we'll build that color. I think I'm gonna water it down. I'm gonna do a color wash. It isn't necessary to come in with a solid bit of acrylic. It just needs a color wash. Since we have the white underneath, you can see we got that look also with the udder. Sometimes you don't want an opaque color. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Oh dear. Hold on. Okay. And then the inner part of the ears. And I'm going out of the line. So I'm just going to take a dry brush and stipple this a little bit so it doesn't have like water spots on it. Okay. We need to go ahead and shade our cow friend, and we're going to use cocoa because we don't want anything too extreme. I was going to say milk chocolate, so you could do milk chocolate as well, but we'll try the cocoa. I washed my brushes and I put them away, and now they're like, where are they? Okay, that one. Also, I've been using occasionally these deco art shaders, which are very, very interesting. In fact, I bought some and put them on my. I'm going to put them on my website. They're a little stiffer, but they're kind of interesting. So I have that. I think that this area probably requires a 3/8. A ½ inch, I think, it might be a little difficult to turn and move around when you're shading. And I'm going to go ahead and shade on the udder, but probably I'm going to need to come with a darker shade after the fact, but for now. And also I want to add in some more color. We don't want it just to be warm beige, so we'll work on that. So we're going to go ahead and shade around all the spots. I'm not sure. I want to go down both sides of the legs. I may want to just keep the shade to one side. So So I'm crossing over into the black so I can come back. I see some areas that I want to touch up on the black as well, so I might. I love it when you start adding a little bit of color, because the white and black on its own are flat. I mean, they're bold and contrasty. There's no doubt about that. But they're also just kind of flat. So once you start adding in shading, it just adds some softness and life to it. Okay, so hair area, we'll have to do some stroking on the hair area with some gray, just to make it look like it's not just a matte of white. Okay. Make sure it's dry before you go over some of the areas. Oh, this cow's so cute. I just love this cow. It's so adorable. I'm even gonna come back to the eye here, and I want to add in a little bit of color. So oh, so cute, so cute. I want one of these in my house. Maybe not quite so big. Well, this size is okay. Not a real cow size in my house. That might be a problem. I don't know. I don't think that my dog would be very happy. Okay. There's a spot there. And that one as well. Touch of color there. This leg does feel like, because of that spot, I need to add in a little bit. Okay. Oh, so cute. Okay. So I need to get a color for blush. So let me find a color. There's that little guy. So I put another round of cocoa here, and then I also added it above his, on his eyelid. So I have coral blush. I'm going to get a dry brush. So that's probably all you need with that. And again, that was coral blush. I had pulled out these two as well, but that one was too dark and that one was too light. And that was Goldilocks. That was just right. I might take a little of that tone down on that coral blush right on the muzzle up here. I do that by grabbing my dry brush and the warm beige that is underneath and just going back over that. I could take that down a little bit too with a little warm white. But I don't know. I might wait and see. I do need to do something with the hair. Some strokes of gray, perhaps. Let me see. Okay, charcoal gray, because charcoal gray is exactly what it says on the bottle. A little bit of brown, a little bit of charcoal, a little bit of charcoal, a little bit of gray. Let me just put some strokes in. And there's no wrong or right on this either. So okay. It's got a little bit of that coral peach on it. So I'm just going in with the charcoal. I kind of like to do that anyway because that lamp black is very strong. I'm just putting a little charcoal in there. Okay. Putting that dot in. Oops. Kind of a bit bigger than I wanted. Okay, there we go. There's probably areas I need to touch up on, but it's kind of where I want to go. So, whoopsie. So many paints are on my desk and there's no place to go. She's turning out pretty cute, but of course I need to do a lot more. And what is our cow looking like? So cute. So cute. Yes. Okay. So we're going to start putting down some color on the hair. I realized I didn't put any color here, so we need a little bit more of the coral blush. Coral blush. Just a little bit of color down there. Yeah, just enough to make it. All right, so I'm going to build her hair color. So I have a variety of different colors. This is dried clay. So I had started with red spice, so you can see. So, and I have things like terracotta. Anyway, we're going to build her color. Red hair has various colors in it. Red hair is not just red hair. So we're just going to add in strokes. And we'll come back and deal with our shading again. But we're just going to start adding in various strokes. Oops, that's too heavy. This is a number 2 Sure Touch from Josanya. And we'll be going over these things with different colors. So we'll go over the same area because that's just a process of building and layering color. Okay, so now I'm going to take a bit of salted caramel. Okay, so I'm going to go and just add in some more color. Okay, so that was the salted caramel. And now we're actually going to go back to the red spice because the red spice is a color wash underneath there, but I want to come back and add in 100%. Okay. So we're going to come in, let's see, I have a sunny day. All right, so I'm going to let that dry a second. Okay, so I always say go big or go home. I want to keep a brightness, and these are very bright. Oops, hello. This is jack-o'-lantern, and this is neon torrid orange. So I'm going to try the neon torrid orange. So I'm going to do, it's a color wash again. It is not full color. It is an inky wash. And it is quite bright. Okay, that is pretty bright. I might want to tone that down with maybe going back to the red spice, but we'll see. We're layering and building colors, so. Okay, I'm going to add another layer of that. Okay, I'm going to try a little bit of terracotta and a blending dry brush. I'm going to try to tone down some of these colors. So you can do this by doing a color wash or by dry brushing. Yeah, she's starting to, her hair's starting to meld more. So again, that's terracotta. So it's toning down some of the yellow, which you still needed, but you just didn't want it to be so strong. So we're just blending the colors down. Okay, so I don't think I want to go back to asphaltum because it's awfully dark. I need to find a lighter color for shading. So that's what I'm going to do. I got to find something to shade with that isn't quite so dark. Okay, so I pulled out the milk chocolate. I'm going to just start with that. And it might not be dark enough, but it's a start. It's where we're going to start. Yeah, that is not very dark. So I'm going to have to get a darker shade. I think the problem was, put that in here. So the shade that needs to have a little bit of red in it, but the milk chocolate is not quite there. Okay, I'm going to try, that still might be too light, the cinnamon stick. The traditional burnt sienna. Here we go. Try that. I think I've got my whole palette of the pinks out with me right now. That is making a bit of a difference, but I don't know if I need to add in any darker shade than that. I may. The dark chocolate, I might use a little of that too. So I'm kind of going back and forth between the traditional burnt sienna, and then I'll try the dark chocolate, and then that I might get dark enough. So I need to put in those dark roots. Always have to have our dark roots. Okay. Okay. I could keep going, but I can always keep going. All right. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put down another, I'm going to put down natural buff. Not one beige. Let me see. Or I might try, I'm going to use the white peach actually. I'm going to do a color wash of the white peach. Okay. White peach. Okay. Coral blush. I'm going to take a blending brush, a really small blending brush, and I'm going to just go in the areas where she needs some color. Put a little bit. I have a feeling she's going to need freckles. Okay. So a lot of times you put the color down and then you come back and we're going to lighten it. So okay, we're going to take a little bit of that white peach. So we're blending that white blush, or white peach, sorry, not white blush, white peach, back in there. Okay, so now you can see how much softer that is. Okay, so I'm going to come back with a little bit more of that white peach. Just, we want to get that little highlight area under the eyes to be a bit brighter. Okay, so now we need to get eyebrows and also eyelid. So I don't know if she needs any eye color. Okay. I'm going to get a little bit of the cocoa. Oops, I went the wrong way with that line. Got to fix that. Okay, I'm just taking back some of that shade so it's calm, not too harsh, but I do need probably a little bit in the nostrils. That's a little bit more definitive. Okay. So this line needs to come more from that direction in the eye. Okay, so now we need to put in some eyelids. Okay. And we need some brows. I'm going to start with, I don't remember what color that was, terracotta? I think maybe terracotta. Okay. So okay, so just slowly blending. Okay. Alright, so this is a little bit of tea berry. I'm going to put just a small bit of that on the top part of the lip, because it's a little darker, and just right under there, so that I can come back with some lighter color. Okay, she needs some eyelashes. This is still too thick. I need a thinner brush.
Okay, so I pulled a number of brushes, and I could do my eyelashes with them, but I'm going to use my Rotring, and the problem is I'm not 100% sure if it will bleed. Now, because I don't know if this is going to run or not, I'm just going to get a thin stylus, and I'm going to get her some balls. So one of the browns will be fine, whatever colors. Guess that's okay. Some freckles. Okay. So for the eyes, we're going to use a little bit of, I pulled some avocado toast. So we originally used mistletoe. And I'm just going to pull a little bit of avocado toast. Okay, and then we're gonna come back with a little bit of the black, I think. Because I can see where I accidentally got some green. So we had burnt umber here, so we're just bringing in a little bit of the lamp black just to darken that up. I'm going to use some Hauser light green. Okay, it's very subtle. It's very subtle how it's creating extra color. Alright, well, you may or may not be able to see that, but... And now we need to have our warm white. Okay, so our warm white. And then a slash at an angle. Something like that. So there they are. So I need to work on her dress now. Oops, don't get water there. Okay, work on her dress. See how many paints I have out now, and how many brushes I have out. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm just making an absolute mess of everything. But I'm getting close to being done for the evening, but I want to get her dress done. So, hold on. I'm going to try shading with a bit of traditional burnt sienna. Okay, let's see if I can zoom in one time here. Okay, so shade a bit at the sleeves and under the sleeves. And we might need to come in with darker shade, but for now this is what we're starting with. Yeah, it isn't very dark at all. Surprised. I just don't want to go like a burnt umber, so I might try the dark chocolate, and I'm gonna use the both of them at the same time. Oops, hello. So I have them both there. Just come up to the neckline. Okay, I'm gonna have her bodice, shade under her bodice right here. And I want to have a seam. want the same kind of flowing down. They definitely are not hugely dark colors on this background. Kind of surprised. I'll have another one coming down there. Okay. All right. I'll have to do some more shading, I think, but I'm going to dry this, and then I want to do some highlighting. Okay, I have jack-o'-lantern and bright orange. Jack-o'-lantern's a little bit darker, so I'll start with that one. So that's a big jump from where we started with the red spice, which I absolutely love, that color. All right. So we are going to start with the jack-o'-lantern. Okay, so think about where we would tend to have a little bit more brightness. So it should be picking up the higher areas. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of fresh mango. Well, I don't know. I've got bright orange. And there's this neon orange. Let me try a little bit of this bright orange. So really you can use all kinds of oranges on this. You're just trying to pop the color up and layer some different tones in there besides just what we had with the red spice, which is a beautiful base to start with, but we want some layering of color, and we especially want to play on all that mulberry fiber we've got going on. She's so pretty. She's so pretty. Cow's so cute and she's so pretty. Yeah, it's coming up. It's looking good. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little bit of this. I was gonna do Sunny Day, but I pretty much ran out of it. So let me get another yellow. Okay, I'm gonna kind of go backwards because normally you go from darkest to lightest, but because this is gonna be exceptionally light, this is banana cream, I want to be able to go back over it with a slightly darker color after. because it's going to be a little bit too bright and light. So, and sometimes if you use a brighter color like this, then the color that you really want, the medium tone that you really want, has this opaqueness to settle into. So, so now I'm going to go to tangerine, or I might try the neon. So I'm just going to go back and forth until I get the color that I want. And I suggest you do the same. So bringing in some neon. And like I said, I can come back and do some more shading too afterwards. Okay. Alright, I don't know if that was orange flame. Just want to see what happens if I come back with orange flame. If that, this is the wrong direction. Don't do that. Yeah, I like that orange flame. And then I'll come back with light again. Just build those colors. Create something cool and interesting. Okay. And last, some tangerine. Or I could go with fresh mango. That's, I don't know. Let me try fresh mango. So that's that color right there. Okay. Well, I don't know. I might need to let that marinate overnight, and then I can come back and see how I want to change it. If I want to change it. Oh, that's, it's like, what is that in there? It's the fiber. So, I wonder, go back over that. So, Okay, now I am probably going to allow that to marinate for the night, and that way in the morning I'll look at it and see what I want to do. So here we are so far. Now I am going to concentrate on the grass. I haven't picked the sky color yet because I want the grass to tell me what tones to use, because the shamrocks already are telling me what tone of grass. So I will build those colors on the sky after I do the grass. So if I want to stick with the tones that I have on the paper, they're kind of right in here. And so those two colors work. The darker one is antique green and the lighter one is avocado toast. It's a medium tone. Now for the lighter tones, it's a complete unknown yet. So this one is celery green and this one is margarita. So you can see on their own the trio works. And if I change it out, the trio still works. So those are the more traditional, subtle kind of tones, but we are going to see what it looks like. So the brush that I was using when I did the first piece, the Heart Girl, is this oil brush, this brush for oils. It's a Dynasty number 8. But basically you're trying to get a stiff brush. It can work with this gesso, and it's not just, you don't want your color just to be applied opaquely the way you might with a soft bristled brush, but yet you want good coverage. So I'm kind of stippling it on my canvas there, and I'm just going to start adding in the color. In this one, I'm starting with the antique green, so I'm starting with the darkest of the 4 colors that I have there. And the gesso will repel some of the color, so it isn't like painting directly onto a really porous wood where the wood is just drinking up your paint and becoming opaque. And as you kind of brush this over, you can see it's still kind of giving you a semi-translucent look. It's not as opaque. And that's what you want. Especially in the sky, because if you have any white showing through, that just gives you, in some ways, the illusion of being bits of clouds poking out. On the grass, you probably don't really want it to show up too much as white underneath, because we don't want it to look like snow. So these were not the colors originally I was going to go with. I was going to go more with the Kelly green and the traditional greens. But because my shamrock paper has this tone in it, I'm going to go with that. All right, I'm going to take a moment and dry it. So these were the colors I probably would have gone for. The fairway green or Kelly green. These are kind of more the traditional ones. And you definitely can layer in some of those colors and change this, but you just have to, like, if you know, I'm doing these shamrocks, but if you're doing something completely different on your shamrocks, if you're just painting them, or if you found a different paper you want to use, then it gives you a lot of leeway. You can use whatever colors you want. Okay, so I'm going to come in then with the avocado toast, which is the medium. That's the medium tone. I'm going to lighten this and change the color a little bit. All right, I'm going to dry that. Now, just for grins, I'm going to see about this new leaf. It's not quite as bright as a Kelly green, but it still has brighter tones in it than what we're currently concentrating on. So we're going to bring some of that in. I'm just stippling this in now. I'm just going to stipple that in. I can move it around a bit. Because grass has so many different tones to it. So, okay, try that. Okay, I'm gonna go back and add in a little bit of that avocado toast again. So I have Irish moss. This one is margarita. I'm going to add in some Irish moss, which kind of is not too far off from the new leaf. So they're kind of in the same green family. But the Irish moss has just a little bit more of the yellow, and it's a lighter shade. So I'm wiping it off more on my paper towel. I'm going to bring in some of this celery green. Try a little bit more. All right. So now for the very, very bright margarita. So let's see. Yeah, those are fine with those melded colors. So if you don't have all the colors, that's fine. Use what you have that you can piece together and create your own special grass. Okay. So this is more dry brushing. You're not trying to get it in the low points. You're keeping to the high points only to make those high points pop. Trying not to get it in the sky, but okay, one more of the margarita. Now, sometimes after you let the stuff set on the gesso, it will absorb some of the color. So you may want to come back and brighten it up again after, you know, a few hours or overnight or whatever. If it looks like it's really absorbed all that brightness and that highlight. So there you go. There's the grass. Da-da-da-da. Let's look at it closer. So you can see all those highlights from the gesso. Okay, yay. All right. So right now I don't know how I need to shade. We have kind of a natural shade going on from how I did the gesso. So let me, now I have to find all of the sky colors that I think are going to work with this. So see, you've got, that looks like it's a good match. All right, so I've picked a selection of blues. So True Blue is the darkest one, and I'm not sure I need that one. So that's in the maybe. And then you've got a competition going on between Crisp Blue and Grecian Blue. I might use both of those, okay? They're very close, very, 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 very close in color. So then you need lighter colors. The Gingham Blue and Grecian Blue are designed to go together, so I'll probably keep that. And then there's Baby Blue and there's Blue Chiffon that goes really light, so I don't know yet if I will need that. So I'm going to go ahead and put a layer of the Crisp Blue down. Okay. So I have this brush again. I have washed it. It's still a little wet. But it's really the only one I have that I like the way that it works on this surface. I'll just go with it. All right. Again, this is Crisp Blue. All right, I'm going to switch to the Grecian Blue. It's just slightly lighter than the Crisp Blue.
kind of good. Okay, so the next step up is the gingham blue. So as you go lighter, you start drying it more as you apply some of these colors. Okay, light. I do feel like I need to have a shade down here because some of the white is showing, and that's not what I want. I think I want to go ahead and go around all of the edges with this crisp blue shading. I'm going to get a slightly bigger angled brush here to do that. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my gingham blue and add some light again with my brush that I'm using as a dry brush. That was a little wet coming over. I want to keep it away from the edge where I just did all the shading, but yeah, that's... Okay. I'm going to try blue chiffon, which is very, very, very light, just to do it extremely lightly. There we go. All right. So now I have to figure out where this is not big enough for me to know, but I can kind of guess where the pieces are going to go. So okay. So that is going to be there. So I want that to be lifted. And then maybe make this one up, dimensional. And so this definitely needs to be a dark one here. So I'm flipping the shamrock so that I can do a dark one. I wonder if that is that feels a little small. Let me see. Okay, I think that's the right size. Okay. So all right, that looks about right. So now I need to add in the stems. So I think on this one, I want it to be not a straight line. I want it to be kind of a squiggly line going down. Something like that. goes there, that one goes there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just use the lush green and put in my line. See how, or actually it's not lush green, it's antique green. So, trying to rejuvenate a pile of paint I was using earlier. Okay, so this one is starting right about there. The reason I'm doing these curvy is just to make it a little different than the one I did with the hearts. But also I was looking at clover and shamrocks, and they do really grow in clusters, and they don't always grow straight up because they grow in these clusters and have these delicate stems connecting everything. Just basically lots of leaves all clustered together. Okay, I think that was it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Looks like there's 6 of them. Okay, so now I need to put some of these together. So I'm going to grab my soft matte gel. I'm going to go ahead and stick this thing down. So I still have that one to put on. I'm going to add in some shadows on the right side of the stems, or whatever you would call them on Clover. I'm just using a little bit of asphaltum. I'm also going to add some shading along the edges of my flower shamrock. Okay, so now we need some lighter color. So we're going to pick the margarita and a liner brush. It doesn't have to be everywhere, probably just more along the bumps, the bump outs on the left, something like that. This may not show up here, but we'll just add it in anyway. Okay. I'm going to see what happens if I put a little bit of this margarita on the top edges. I don't know about down there though, because it doesn't really show up. All right. I'm going to see about adding in some gold. Let me turn this so it's still a little wet. So I'm just going to add in some doodles here and there. So this is a gold marker by Pilot. I love them. All right. Nice. I like the little gold additives. Really cool. All right. I gotta spray it. So she's been sprayed. And the cow, Mrs. Cow, Mrs. Cow has been sprayed.
Okay, so I was going to show you this here. I finished her. I'm going to get rid of that. So I have to put the clamps back down on her because the glue's still poking up over here. But you can see that I have some jewels here, and I put some pearls on her dress, her gown, and on her necklace and earrings. So I think she's really sweet, and I really hope that you love her too. And so this is one of the series that I have, and I'm going to have more. Oh, there I am. So I have an Easter one I still have to paint, and then I have some other ideas. We'll see how they do. See how they do.